Okay, over in this area, this is the actual project of all the editing that we're doing for Bartlett this year. And all of these are small bins, and each one of them has clips in it. These start out as the long, like 30 minutes or 45 minutes worth of tape for each game. And I'll take that and then go through each one and pick out the clips that I want to use, number them according to player, or just depending on what it is we want to do for that section. And I can take, after I've created these small clips, then you take them and move them. Okay, so once we've actually separated out all of our clips from the raw video, then you take them and add them over here to the timeline. So each one of these little boxes that you see is actually a video clip, and I can zoom in on it to kind of show you. You can see as I go across. And each one of those is a clip for the opener. So you end up, you can see here just the massive number of clips. And these little white dots down here are what I use. I set those on to the drum beats so I'll know kind of when to make my cuts. You can see here for this piece of music, right in this area you get a lot of drum, right, especially right in there. And then it goes on. You have all your clips for the. This actually is for the beginning of the defense. And if I back out, you can see that there's just a massive amount of clips for baseball. I picked this clip, and this is something that I want to add special effects to for the beginning. And basically, it's very, very short. It's just a little bit over 1 second long. But because we have to paint over each frame, that's still, you can only make it so long. So here you can see the motion. He's coming around, swinging, striking the ball. Now what I want to do is actually separate him from the background. And the way I'll do that is to create a mask. And we do that by painting over each frame, and I'm going to show you that here in just a second. But what I do is turn each one of these video frames into a regular frame I can open in Photoshop and paint over. So this is the original clip. Before I get started, this is what it looks like. Okay? Now, what we've got here is I've turned that second worth of video into still images. So I can take each still image, bring it into Photoshop, and what I'm going to do is actually take this image and create a mask over the top of just him. And I've got this paintbrush here, same thing I'm using for the when I made the light storm. I use an airbrush and just basically paint him out of the picture. And what this is going to allow me to do is, once I get finished and I take this back into After Effects, I can tell After Effects that everywhere this mask is, or this area of black, everywhere it is, to separate that from the background. So then I'll have a foreground and a background, and I can add effects to the foreground and the background separately. So you can see you just kind of have to paint like so. And I'm kind of doing this fast and sloppy just to kind of show you. We can zoom right in if we have to do some detail work like down around the feet. Okay, so once we finish that, then we save it back with all of our masks. So we'll take this. Now that's what I end up with. Just the player. So I'm going to use this as a mask, and I'll show you what this looks like over in After Effects once we finish. Once we've painted over each frame, you can see here I move it forward slowly. This is where he starts to swing. If I play this back in real time, that's what we end up with. So now we're going to use that mask and start creating the effects. First I'll use it to remove the player. from the background. So now that we have just the player, this is what he looks like. That's just the player. And then over here, I've got just the opposite, just the background. Okay, so now what I've done is I've taken another layer, because we can just keep adding. That's why it's called compositing. You just composite one layer on top of another. And I've created, basically, it's kind of like fire that I can put behind him since I've got him separated from the background. So we go into our composite. So when we go into our composite, now I can take and shatter the things around him. First thing I did was take and add a glow to him, so you can see the glow that's coming off here. And the background, I darkened it, and then I added a shatter map to it, so when he comes around, I added a lens flare right here, and then you can see the pieces start to shatter away as he swings the bat around. All I'm doing is just shattering, actually shattering the background that's just behind him, and not shattering him since I've got him separated. And then add the fire, and that's the fire that we did in the other layer. Add the light storm that we made earlier, and the light storm, I've got it blown up a little bit big, blurred just a little bit and turned down some, and then add the background. So the background is the background's actually two layers. You got the background once that doesn't shatter behind everything, then you have the background on top, which I have set to shatter. So when you get the complete effect, you can see that it comes out pretty nifty.